Remember the giant One Piece mirror a few chapters back that Frankie saw? Well, I'm 95% sure I saw the important part of that mirror. And the part I'm talking about is the big figure that's holding the sun. I think I finally understand what this represents. So in this video, I'm going to try my best to break down what this means. And if you like One Piece anime content, make sure to subscribe because I've been on the ball lately. In order for us to understand what this picture represents, we need to look at two things. We need to look at the Bible, the Christian Bible and we need to look at the latest One Piece chapter. Because there's something in the Christian Bible that directly relates to One Piece and it flew over our head. Let's start with the latest One Piece chapter first before I explain the Bible context. So in chapter 1150, we finally got to witness Imu's power. And I'll tell you right now, I was truly astonished. From the small glimpse of power we did see from Imu, I can tell you right now, they're on another level. Actually, I don't even know if Imu has a devil fruit. Imu might just straight up be the devil. While Imu was controlling Gonko's body, Gonko appeared with a devil tail and a pitchfork. Like, bro, Imu has the power to grant people multiple powers. Like, bro, that is no devil fruit. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the One Piece chapter. I just wanted to kind of get the point across that Imu is some kind of devil. So now I can move on to what I really want to talk about in my video. Like I said earlier, I'm 95% sure my theory holds some type of weight. So I want to start off first by saying Imu was a part of the D-Clan. I know some people agree with it and some people don't, but trust me, Imu was definitely a part of the D-Clan. And hopefully this theory will give you some insight on Imu. I mean, it is speculation, but take it with a grain of salt. So here's why I say Imu was a D-Clan member. So now we have to venture over to the Bible, and I had to connect some dots to the Bible and Imu. Whether you're a Christian or not, 9 times out of 10, you heard of the character Lucifer. I'm not going to take you all type of loops. I think Imu was based off Lucifer. And I have tons of evidence to back it up. So we all know Lucifer as being Satan. But before Satan, he was Lucifer. Lucifer in the Bible was once an angel that lived among God. That's right, before he was known as the devil or Satan, he lived among God. He was actually in heaven with God. Lucifer was also said to be one of God's most beautiful angels. Basically, he was a prodigy. And to further prove that Lucifer was a prodigy, he was known as the son of Dawn. We all know the word Dawn get referenced a lot in One Piece, and it just so happened that Lucifer was known as the son of Dawn. Also, Lucifer's name in Latin translates to something very important. The lux part, or lux as in Latin, means light. The fur part means to carry. Who was carrying light in One Piece? If you look back at the mirror, remember the giant demonic figure is carrying the sun. Light to carry. So now you kind of get an idea why I'm saying Imu is literally Lucifer. I feel like chapter 1150 pretty much sealed the deal where it proved that Imu was the devil, but I just want to give you some deeper context into this theory. So now that we know that Lucifer was the son of quote unquote Dawn, and Lucifer translates to light to carry, we can move on with the story. So Lucifer, basically knowing that he's this majestic angel, he didn't just want to be a follower of God. Lucifer actually said he wanted his throne in the clouds above God, to transcend God. And this was a problem because we know no one is above God. And this was basically the beginning of the rebellion with Lucifer and God. This would later lead to an internal war in heaven where Lucifer and his followers would be defeated by one of God's angels. They would later be kicked out of heaven and the term fallen angels would be created. So that's pretty much all the information I'm going to give you on Lucifer, because at the end of the day, this is an Imu video. And I don't want to make the video solely about religion. So now we can finally get back to Imu and connect the dots to how Imu and Lucifer are similar. And I know I mentioned some of them already, but I'll go over them again along the way. So let's piece this thing together. Much like how Lucifer was known as the son of Dawn or morning sun, I believe Imu was similar in a certain type of way. I think Imu was actually a D-Clan member that was set to carry the world into a new era. But I think Imu didn't want to wait. We know Joy Boy sat on top of the throne during the Void Century. And somewhere during this time, I think Imu was a D-Clan member for sure. I just think Imu didn't want to wait for the new Dawn, and Imu wanted to bring the Dawn in now, but Joy Boy didn't want to. So this is where the eternal war within the ancient civilization started. And as we all know, Joy Boy lost and Imu manipulated the world. So currently, Imu is the holder of the new Dawn. This is Imu's era. I mean, look at the mirror. If we expect this figure to be Imu, it's literally holding the sun. This is the new Dawn. This is the current Dawn that we're looking at. Remember, as with chapter 1150, Imu is basically the devil. So we can say Imu has the Lucifer devil fruit, if it's even the devil fruit. And remember, Lucifer in Latin translates light to carry. And what is this figure doing in the mirror? It's carrying light. Once again, I think this light strongly represents the era that Imu wanted to bring in. And the people you see in the photo trying to fight against this giant figure, these are the people trying to bring in the new Dawn, the one Toki is talking about. You have Luffy along with his allies trying to extinguish the current Dawn and bring in the liberated Dawn. And this is the Dawn where everybody is free. Everybody is the same. Nobody is overlooked or looked at different because of their skin color. You know what I'm talking about. And I want to say this quick last thing about Lucifer and Imu. Some of you may be questioning this theory because you might be saying the Allied Kingdoms defeated Joy Boy. But I mean, you're right. I'm not saying Imu defeated Joy Boy alone or anything. Just like how Lucifer was kicked out of heaven, I think Imu was kicked out of the ancient kingdom. And this is why I believe Imu ran and told the world government, who I guess the allied kingdoms at the time. Now what Imu may have told him, it is beyond me. Maybe Joy Boy had ancient weapons, but I don't know. Imu could have told him anything. But here's how Imu got control, in my opinion. Once Imu and the allied kingdoms defeated Joy Boy, they started to form the world government. And we know they placed their swords on top of the empty throne to show that no one person will have true power. The power will all be distributed evenly. But there's only one problem with that. You quite literally have an imposter among the group. And Imu is the imposter. Imu doesn't just want to distribute power. Remember, Lucifer didn't want to follow God. Lucifer wanted to be above God. So what did Imu do? I think Imu killed all of the kings and tampered with history as we know he's been doing. And Imu took the throne for himself. Hence why Imu is the only person on top of the empty throne. Because in the Bible, Lucifer was greedy for power. He wanted to be above God. And Imu was greedy for power because Imu didn't want to wait for a new dawn based off my theory. And then Imu basically slimed out the allied nations and Imu took the power to sit on top of the empty throne. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of my theory, man. I hope it made sense to you guys, man. If you have a question for me, I'll respond in the comments. And man, you guys have a blessed day or night.